Here is 10 things WWE fans should know about Survivor Series 1987. Survivor Series 1987 was the inaugural Survivor Series event. The success of Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant's rivalry and match at WrestleMania 3 led to the establishment of Survivor Series. The event has since become one of the longest running WWE pay-per-view events in history. The first event was held on Thanksgiving in 1987. It featured a host of massive WWE talent ranging from Hulk Hogan to Randy Savage. The show ended up being such a resounding success that it led to the second Survivor Series in 1988. This list will examine 10 things fans should know about the pay-per-view event that spawned a decade-long tradition, Survivor Series 1987. So in no particular order, guys, we're just going to go over 10 things you should know. Now, along with War Games, Survivor Series is one of my personal favorite events, the old Survivor Series. See, I don't like this new merging Survivor Series with War Games because those are two separate concepts of pay-per-views, two separate concepts. What made the WWE's version of Survivor Series so good is because they featured all levels of their talent. They had the main event level, you know what I mean, where Hulk Hogan had his team, the good guys, the faces, all of the top faces was on the team. Then it had the mid-carders. They had the Intercontinental Champion. He had a team. You know what I mean? So you see how they did it? They had the women's division. All the women were on the team. They had their team. And then they had a tag team Survivor Series match. So those four tiers made up the first Survivor Series, guys. The 1987 Survivor Series match featured a women's Survivor Series elimination match. The WWE Women's Division has come a long way from its early incarnation in the 80s and 90s. Bra and panties matches and Playboy were once the draw power of the women of the WWE. Today, the company has arguably the best women's wrestlers on the entire planet. On any given weekend, stars like Bianca Belair, Bayley, and Becky Lynch can outshine any male wrestler. In a shockingly progressive move for its era, the first Survivor Series event featured both men's and women's Survivor Series tag team elimination matches. The Jumping Bong Angels were the sole survivors of the women's match. It was the last official Survivor Series women's tag team match until 2008 event, almost 20 years later. And this match was good, guys. I like this match. As we go back and take a look at this match, Sensational Sherry, we know her. She had her team. The Fabulous Moolah had her team. And they went in. They got it in, guys. They went at it. And it started off rough. Match definitely started off rough. But then it got good. And I want you guys to peep how these women, it wasn't about skin. And this was right before the bra and panties era. This was when the women were trying to get it in. And they were. They didn't look as great as the women nowadays. I'll tell you that. Whew, you can see the age on these women. But they had a great outing, guys. And this, like they said, this was the first women's elimination match. Now we going into 2024 Survivor Series, where we got one of the best storylines. Like, who did it to Jade, right? Who hurt Jade? But this is where it starts, guys. This is where it started. Number 9, guys. Rob Van Dam made his first WWE appearance. Although he didn't compete on the event, Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man, made his television debut in Survivor Series 1987. A promo video aired between matches, and they showed DiBiase as a rich man humiliating fans to help sell the star as a heel to the audience. The two never crossed paths in the ring. Rob Van Dam made his Survivor Series wrestling debut in the 2001 pay-per-view event. Now, how cool is that, guys? Rob Van Dam made a little guest cameo appearance in the 1987 Survivor Series. Due to the $1 Million Man, he just had a nice little cameo, a vignette. Number 8, guys. Every member of the Macho Man Randy Savage team is in the WWE Hall of Fame. Now, this was an interesting match, guys. This was if I'm not mistaken, this was the first match. This match kicked off the show, matter of fact, guys. This match kicked off the show, and it featured, like I said, the mid-card, guys, the Intercontinental scene. This was all of the people in the Intercontinental Championship picture just split and divided on the team. You had the heels on one side, and you had the good guys on another side. The Macho Man team consisted of, and mind you guys, this was crazy because Macho Man had just recently turned face. He turned face because he was a bad guy. He was feuding with all of these guys that's on his team, but he just recently turned face. Remember, he lost the title to Ricky Steamboat at WrestleMania 3. And what people will say is one of the greatest Intercontinental Championship matches to ever go down in WWE history. So now he's teamed up. He had Macho Man, you had Brutus the Barber Beefcake, you had Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Ricky Steamboat, and Jake the Snake, all on one side against King Harley Race, Hercules, Ron Bass, Danny Davis, and this was the referee that turned rogue right here. Honky Tonk Man was the captain of this team, and Honky Tonk Man was the newly minted Intercontinental Champion. Ricky Steamboat was the first member inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2009. Jim Duggan joined the illustrious club in 2011. Jake the Snake Roberts and Randy Savage were part of the 2015 class. Brutus Beefcake joined in 2019, which meant every competitor earned a place in the WWE Hall of Fame, a rare Survivor Series feature. Number 7, guys, and this is weird. Did you know not a single champion survived in the inaugural 1987 Survivor Series? Every WWE title holder competed at Survivor Series. The gold did not make the difference since every single one of them was eliminated from their match. The Honky Tonk Man entered the event as the Intercontinental Champion. He was the last member of his team eliminated. And mind you, Honky Tonk Man, he eliminated himself. He eliminated himself. It got down to the point where it was the Honky Tonk Man versus Macho Man, Jake the Snake, and Ricky Steamboat. And Honky Tonk Man got out of there. He lived to see another day. And what was a great move because that protected Honky Tonk Man. He didn't have to eat a pin. Strikeforce, Rick Martel and Tito Santana were tag team champions and were eliminated from the 10-on-10 Survivor Series tag team match. And WWE champion Hulk Hogan was counted out in his match. So, again, guys, Survivor Series never was about title matches. It was a Thanksgiving event that featured something different, a whole different concept, team sport. It was about team. It wasn't about the individual character. It was about team and surviving. 1987 Survivor Series was Ricky Steamboat's only Survivor Series appearance. Ricky Steamboat is one of the best wrestlers to ever compete in the WWE. Although he became well known as a WCW wrestler, he spent a large part of the 80s as a member of the WWE roster. However, Survivor Series 1987 was the only Survivor Series event Steamboat ever competed in. He would wrestle for the company a few times off and on, but never landed on another Survivor Series elimination tag match. Unfortunate, because Steamboat was flip-floppy. Steamboat really was never grounded in WWE. He always went back and forth, and every time Steamboat mustered up enough steam to get the title, he ended up having to drop the title and have to go attend to family. So Steamboat, his career is just riddled with bad timing. Every time Steamboat got the title, he had to drop it. Think about it. Steamboat had just won the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania 3. And by the time we get here to Survivor Series, Honky Tonk Man has the title. You know what I mean? For all of that, we could have left the title on Macho Man and just turned Macho face with the title. But, you know what I mean? Hindsight 2020, we know we had bigger things for the Macho Man, Randy Savage, following this pay-per-view. Number 5, guys. Now, Rob Van Dam and the $1 Million Man wasn't the only two stars to feature and debut on this show. Bam Bam Bigelow and Rick Rude made their television debut as well. In 1987, the WWE had only aired 3 WrestleManias by then. Raw was still years away from airing on television, and this event featured a ton of in-ring television debuts for many WWE stars. Bam Bam Bigelow, who debuted during his main event match, became a staple at WWE, WCW, and ECW, WWE Hall of Famer, and WCW Juggernaut. Rick Rude made his WWE television debut at this event as well. He would compete at 2 more Survivor Series after the inaugural event and was never part of a losing team. So Rick Rude never lost. Rick Rude would have been known as Mr. Survivor Series. And I like Rick Rude. And for those of you that did not think Rick Rude was a main event talent, you're wrong, because like I told you, this show featured tiers, and Rick Rude was in that main event level. He was opposing the team of Hulk Hogan. So he was on Andre the Giant team, and Andre the Giant team consisted of all of the main event level talent, all of the heels. And Rick Rude was a part of that. And he played a major part of this match, because we all know that Andre the Giant wasn't mobile enough. I mean, he was still up there, but he was on his decline, you know what I mean? He was on his decline, and Rick Rude took the brunt of this match. Rick Rude did the workload of this match. Number 4 should have been number 1, because if you're a wrestling fan, if you've been watching, if you've been paying attention, if you've been studying, then you know Survivor Series, the inaugural Survivor Series, went head-to-head with Starrcade. Guys, yes it did. Another one of those Vince McMahon swindles to break up the territories and just to take over. Long after Starrcade was WCW's WrestleMania, the NWA was competing for wrestling fans against Vince McMahon's company, the WWE. Starrcade 1987 was the NWA's first major pay-per-view event. McMahon threatened cable networks who aired Starrcade that they would not be allowed to televise WrestleMania 4. And with the success of WrestleMania 3 in the Pontiac Silverdome, Andre versus Hogan, I don't think any network was fitting to play with Vince McMahon. Survivor Series ended up doing massive numbers compared to Starrcade due to the threat. NWA scored a 3.30 buy rate, and Survivor Series drew a massive 7.0. Number 3, guys. Now, let me say that this tag team match, it looked and sounded good on paper, but it was a cluster F, and it wasn't as great as possible. Plus, it was one of those when your partner get eliminated, the whole team get eliminated. So, and it just was, to me, it was too much. But keep in mind, Smash was the only person disqualified at the event. Every other person either took the pinfall or got counted out. Really, I don't think anybody submitted. It was no submissions, but Smash from Demolition was the only man disqualified at the event. Survivor Series elimination matches almost always include multiple disqualification eliminations, with heels grabbing weapons becoming commonplace in the 1990s. It's part of the show that makes sense. At the first Survivor Series event, only one person suffered a disqualification elimination: Smash. Demolition, Axe, and Smash won the WWE Tag Team titles on 3 different occasions and had a few big runs at the company. The pair competed in the 10-man tag elimination match and were the 3rd team eliminated when he shoved a referee. So Smash shoved the referee, got himself eliminated, and at this point they was just looking for creative ways to just end this match, guys. Keep in mind, this was the controversial match that stemmed from Jacques Rougeau knocking the Dynamite Kid's teeth out his mouth. The Mountie, the Mountie knocked Dynamite Kid teeth out his mouth. So they was waiting for the retaliation. So Vince had to step in. This is why, if you go back to that pay-per-view, you see that the Rougeaus, one of the first teams to get eliminated, got out of there, and it was scripted like that so that they could get to the lockers and get on out of there and get to the airport before Dynamite could get to them. You know what I mean, guys? So if you watch that show, if you watch that match, you'll see they never crossed paths. The Rougeau brothers and the British Bulldogs, that is, they never crossed paths because they had some backstage heat within them 2 teams. And we did a video. If you go back on this channel, guys, you can find that video where we talked about that. Bullying goes wrong. The 1987 inaugural Survivor Series event also featured Andre the Giant's first match in 7 months, guys. One of the biggest selling points for this whole show and event was the pairing of Andre the Giant versus Hulk Hogan. Although it wasn't Andre's first match after WrestleMania 3, it was the first televised match of Andre's career after the event. As many of us know now, Andre's health started seriously declining, and a few years after this event, he would form the Colossal Connection with Haku to help extend his career. We also know, guys, that this was right before that Saturday Night Live, guys. Right before the twin referees, right before he wins the title and then hand gifts it to the $1 Million Man who debuted on this show. So you see how Andre, he starts to move away from the Heenan family and starts to go towards $1 Million Man right after this event. But that helped extend his career, guys. But that also is why I said Macho Man had bigger things ahead. But we getting ahead of ourselves, guys. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, because we'll definitely do WrestleMania 4. We'll definitely go over some things you need to know about WrestleMania 4. And the number one thing you need to know about the inaugural 1987 Survivor Series is that Hulk Hogan suffered a rare televised loss. Yeah, Hulk Hogan lost, guys. He did not win. One of the few times he did not win. Hulk Hogan did not lose many matches during his time on top of the WWE. He was built as a massive superstar that was often invincible in the ring. Although he didn't suffer a pinfall loss in this match, Hogan was counted out and his team fell to the team of Butch Reed, the Heenan family, Andre the Giant, King Kong Bundy, and Rick Rude, and the one-man gang. It was only the second televised loss of Hogan's career at the WWE. Now that's impressive, guys. And those are 10 things you need to know about the inaugural WWE Survivor Series pay-per-view event, guys. Hope y'all enjoyed the content. I'll see y'all later.
This is a wreck. He's moving like an uncaged animal.
No lie, he's wild in there.